6, we're back again. Kristi and Katie, your crime time friends. Stories, justice, laughs collide. True Crime Squad, come join the ride. Grab the clues, let's take a stand. For victims' voices, hand in hand. True Crime Squad, it's time to shine. Season 6, your turn, your time. True Crime Squad, where justice meets hilarity.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey everybody.
How's it going?
It is going well. It is cold.
So cold.
We've reached that bone-chilling cold part of winter where you just can't get warm. Like, the thermostat says it's 70 degrees in my house, but I'm freezing my butt off, you know? Yeah.
Me too.
Other than that, I'm great, really.
I've been tempted to wash the dishes just so my hands would feel warm for a minute.
Right. My son was trying to get me to go walk at the river to play Pokemon Go. It's 20 degrees outside. I'm like, no, thank you. He keeps doing this to me. Well, how about tomorrow? Is it going to be 20 degrees?
Is it still winter?
Thank you.
Will it still be winter tomorrow?
I'm not going. And down by the river is so much colder. Oh.
So much worse, yeah.
And I love walking at the river, but I am not doing it when it's 20 degrees outside.
Yeah. Yeah, no, not happening. I know. We needed to run an errand last night and did not go because we decided we didn't want to go out in the cold. Haven't gone all day today because we still don't want to go out in the cold. I mean, at some point it's going to have to happen, but gosh, dang it.
Point. I get it.
Yeah.
Sandra says, I'm my own personal heater, menopause, ugh. My last 2 winters, I was after my hysterectomy. And now this year, that's kind of stopped, and I've lost some weight, and so I'm freezing my butt off.
Yeah.
Just can't find a happy medium, God damn it. That's all I'm saying.
I did, however, this morning manage to... I'm trying my hand at a little bit of pottery. I want to just be able to make like little cups and mugs in my little kiln, my new kiln. I have a newer kiln that's, well, anyway, in one of my kilns. I know, it's ridiculous. So I had some clay that I bought a while back to make a mold with that I actually like sat down with today and rolled out and cut and worked and made a little espresso cup. So we'll see. Decided to not go too crazy and make too many things till I really see how it's going to work out with this little kiln. But I'm super excited, which that didn't stop me from buying a whole set of glazes. So.
I mean, when there's cool new craft stuff to be had, that's tough to pass up.
Right? I mean, this might be the most expensive espresso cup ever known to man, but if this is all I ever do, but that was actually really fun, and well, we'll see. So I'm trying to not get my hair on fire, and just, this has to dry for like a week before you can fire it, so yeah. I'm just going to, and I made some test tiles too, so I'm just going to go put them all away and not look at them again for a hot minute, but that was actually really fun.
Cool. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But at any rate, we've got plenty of true crime going on. And so I'm going to kick it over to you to lead us off with some, with a true crime update. No, I'm sorry, with dumb criminals.
Yes. Well, you should remember these guys because we've talked about them a few times. Do you recall these dum-dums right here? This is Patriot Front. These geniuses in there, they look like they're dressed to work at Best Buy, except that they cover their faces while they go and do heinous things, horribly racist bullshit. They're a white supremacist militia. Yeah. And they're a bunch of dumbasses. And good news, because they're in trouble, and they owe a bunch of money to this guy right here. Let me tell you about it. This guy, this happened in Boston in 2022. They just showed up and started marching down the street, as they are known to do. Um, and Charles Morrell was just unceremoniously attacked by this gang of jackasses. This is one of the things they did to him. They shoved him up against this light pole with their stupid shields, and then they shoved him out in the street.
Wow.
They were never charged with any crime, which I think
That is
absolute
unbelievable.
bullshit.
Yeah.
But probably this is getting them just as good or maybe better, because Charles said, "Not on my watch, bitches," and he sued them for what they did to him. A member of his legal team said, this was one of those flash marches they were having. Remember, they're all cool. They show up in like U-Hauls and all come out in their Best Buy uniforms with their faces covered because they're super brave white supremacists, don't you know?
They're the coolest. The coolest.
Yeah. So they did this in Boston in July of 2022. One of Charles Morrell's attorneys said the attack on Mr. Morrell was brutal. We saw Patriot Front members attack Mr. Morrell and yell a racial slur at him, beat him, and slam him into a flagpole. There's video. Because of course there is.
Yeah.
Jackasses. So this went before a federal judge. Federal judge Indira Talwani awarded Morrell $25,000 for physical injuries, $500,000 for psychological injuries and emotional distress damages, $230,000 in special damages for lost wages and earning opportunities, and $2 million in punitive damages.
Wow.
So they also awarded an undetermined amount for his legal fees. It comes to $2.7 million that these assholes have to pay for what they did.
Good.
The judge said seizing control of Boston's public sidewalks while wearing face coverings and carrying shields, Patriot Front's members shoved plaintiff Charles Morrell, a black musician who was walking on the sidewalk, just happened to be there when these assholes showed up.
Walking while black.
Yeah. Walking on the sidewalk, shoved him up against a light pole and into a busy street. Morrell's attackers showed no remorse for their actions. Instead, Patriot Front and Russo, who is their leader, glorified the attack by posting a video online with a clip of the group pinning Morrell against the light post and pushing him into the busy road to promote the view that non-white individuals like Morrell should be subordinated to white people. Punitive damages are necessary to deter similar acts in the future.
Yes, they
assholes,
are.
You don't get to treat people like that. And when
the
you
fact
try,
that there were no criminal
this is what
charges,
happens.
though, what a bunch of
I know.
horse shit that is.
It's gross. I mean, there's video. They assaulted him. Why they were not charged criminally, I do not know.
Yeah.
Let me remind you a little bit about Patriot Front. This picture right here might look familiar to you.
Yeah.
This was in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. When these morons showed up at Pride. And they came out of their U-Haul in their Best Buy uniforms and their face coverings. This was in June of 2022. So same year. They were arrested, 31 of them, including their leader, Thomas Russo, for, trying to cause mayhem, basically. Unfortunately, Thomas Russo got off on that particular case. So they arrested and charged 31 of them. A lot of them were either convicted or they pled to something, and they all got, some jail time and some fines and stuff.
It was misdemeanors across the board, anyway.
It was misdemeanors, yeah. But Russo, this is a problem that we are having with these militias. Little tiny Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, was extremely overwhelmed by arresting 31 people at the same time, and it really overwhelmed their legal system to have to deal with these idiots. And Russo's case got screwed up. It was screwed up by the prosecutor's office. They lost some evidence. They missed some filing dates and stuff. And the judge, very unfortunately, and did not want to, but had no choice but to drop the charges against Russo in Coeur d'Alene. And there's been a lot of criticism of the FBI that they should be showing up and getting involved in these cases and helping local municipalities with prosecuting these idiots when they do stuff like this.
And combating
because if
this.
not, some of them get off because those little legal systems can't handle them.
Well, and make no mistake, these are violent people.
They are.
They're not just peaceful protesters. They are violent people.
No.
They are menacing people.
Not they attacked poor Charles Morrell, who just happened to be walking down the street when these idiots rolled up in their van.
Well, good on Charles for taking it this far and getting a settlement. Or getting, not a settlement, a judgment. That should send some kind of a message anyway. But yeah.
I would hope so. And I hope he gets his money. I don't know what they'll have to do to get it from them, but it makes me sick that there were no criminal charges against him in Boston, considering what they did to him, and also that there was footage of it. Like, how?
Yeah.
How
do we not charge that? And we obviously knew exactly who they were because they were able to take them to civil court and win. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So anyway, I thought you'd get a kick out of that because I'm always a fan of Patriot Front getting a comeuppance because they're assholes and they deserve all the consequences we can get them.
Yeah.
So I thought you might like to know about that.
I love it.
Yeah. And with that, Katie, I am going to kick the mic back to you for our main case.
Okay. We're actually going to revisit a little bit older case, but it's a case that has gotten very, very little attention, that deserves big-time media attention and has just not received it, and has still not received it, and it sucks because there's 2 unsolved murders in this scenario. And so we're bringing it up again because just like Oakley Carlson and so many other cases where people are missing or murdered that are getting no traction, that's our job, is to continue to bring light to these cases. So this is the case of the murders of Christina Michelle Jones and Ashley Henley. So this happened in Water Valley, Mississippi. So let's take a step back. We're going to talk first about Christina's death. So the day after Christmas, 2020, Christina was found dead in her trailer. She had like a little single wide trailer. And when emergency crews got there, they found her mobile home on fire. And it was a total loss, burned up just about everything, including her. And at first they were really quick to just write it off as a house fire. These things happen, especially mobile homes. They kind of, have a bad reputation for that. But still, the family was like, we want to see an autopsy, right? They did an autopsy and they discovered that there was no soot in Christina's lungs. Meaning she was dead before the fire ever started. And then, they kind of tried to pass it off. Well, she could have had a heart attack. She did have some opiates in her system, but not enough for the coroner to decide that that's what killed her. In fact, her death has remained undetermined. So, cause of death unknown, manner of death undetermined, according to the coroner. So, or the medical examiner. And so, this was really unacceptable to their family. Obviously, something happened to her, right? Well, after they did some more investigating, they decided that definitely the trailer fire was arson. There had been accelerant found in a few different places. What's that?
Well, it had to be.
Yeah.
If she was dead before the fire. Wow.
So arson, accelerant was found in a few different places, including near her body or maybe on her body. So her family, of course, is like, well, we need some answers. Who did this? Who did this to her? And the sheriff's office just really didn't investigate. Just didn't.
What the hell?
And so her brother Brandon and his wife Ashley, they were demanding some answers because what the hell? How can you possibly have this happen and just walk away into the sunset? Like, they couldn't get a single answer from law enforcement. They were trying hard, and Ashley had a little local notoriety because she had been a state or legislator for her state.
Oh, okay. I'm remembering this case now.
Yeah.
I was trying to place this. Now I remember this. Okay.
So she was a DeSoto County representative. So, she had some contacts and, it felt like there was something going on here. So she starts digging around and pushing, and the family has been to the press. They have been saying, there's something wrong in this county. There's something going on because this just reeks of corruption or something. They had said that they had evidence that Kristina had been engaging in a sexual relationship with someone who had been there shortly before she died, who had deep ties to law enforcement in that county.
No.
And they really felt like there was some nonsense that had gone on here that they didn't, they just weren't going to investigate it. So Ashley just keeps digging. And she was good friends with another Representative Dana Criswell. And she called Dana 10 days before she was murdered. We'll get there. And said that she'd been digging. And she said, I found something deep. She would not tell him what she found. She told him that, she said, what I'm finding, I'm never going to stop. They may try to kill me, but that's the only thing that's going to stop me from uncovering this.
Oh, wow.
This is what she said on the phone, right? And Rep. Criswell, to his credit, said, well, you should tell me then, because if you're the only person that knows, that's more dangerous than if more people know. That may be a good way to protect you. And she said she wouldn't do that because she didn't want to put him or anybody else in danger. Well, right about that same time, on June 4th, 2021, so it's now been almost 6 months from the time that Kristina died, and Ashley and her husband Brandon sit down with the 17th Circuit Court Assistant District Attorney Stephen Jubera. So, and this is where Jubera confirms for them that the last person to see Kristina alive had sex with her just a few hours before she was found dead, and that person has strong connections to the Labusha County Sheriff's Office. Yalbusha, I think that's how you say that. That name hasn't been disclosed because that person's not been charged with anything, but that's what they learned. And whoever this person is, their connection is strong enough that Ashley felt like this certainly was affecting their investigation, or the lack thereof of investigation.
Okay.
So, and this is in this meeting where Jubera starts insisting that there could be a lot of other things. He says, she could have had a heart attack. It could have been a natural death. Maybe somebody started a fire to cover up that she had had sex with someone this night. Like, it could have been an accidental fire. It is possible it's a homicide. There's lots of possibilities.
Dead before the fire, so somebody else set the fire. Come on.
Yeah. So they're just kind of throwing shit at the wall, and really not giving them any actual answers at all. So, they make it really clear to him, like, we're not done with this. They had been posting pretty aggressively on their social media. They had put a big sign up on the property indicating that maybe there had been a murder here and that they wanted to know what had happened.
Oh, wow.
So it's now summer, and this property is essentially abandoned because, Kristina is deceased. And so Ashley says, I'm going to go down there and, do the yard work, clean up the property, right? So she and Ashley, Christina and Ashley had been friends since they were little girls. Like they were really close. They were as close as sisters. This was a horrible blow to their family.
So sad.
So Ashley goes down there, and that's what her husband knows. Last he's heard from her, she's headed down there to do some yard work. She's going to talk to him later. Well, later comes, and she's not responding to a phone call. He's not hearing anything from her. And he's getting nervous because stuff just doesn't seem right here. So he finally, I believe he calls somebody and asks them to go check on her. And what they discover is that Ashley is dead in the yard with a gunshot wound to the back of her head.
Oh my God.
She had been running a weed eater. She was just down there doing her thing.
Executed.
The window to her car was cracked. Her sidearm was there. Her purse was there. Her cell phone. Nobody stole anything from her. They executed her. Yeah. And that's when this sign actually went up. Because now this poor family is dealing with the fact that two of their family members, both of these women, have been murdered.
Well, doesn't that just confirm for you that the first death was a murder? Like, come on.
Yes. Yeah.
There's no way that this is not connected.
So then, a while later, they arrest a guy that lived across the street that, and charge him with burning down the mobile home. I don't think it ever made it to trial, but they did charge a guy. So they're like, okay, so
What did they have on him to be able to charge him?
I'm not sure, but they charged him with arson. His name is Billy Lamar Brooks. And then they indict him for Ashley's murder. Still nobody has been charged in the other murder, but they do indict him for Ashley's murder. And the family aren't really sure what to think, but they've been screaming for justice. No one else is. Like, are you guys a little surprised you haven't heard this story before, unless you heard it from me? Because otherwise you probably haven't, which is crazy considering.
Right.
Like, what the
'cause
hell?
we covered this when it happened, and now
We did.
I think this is only the second time maybe we've talked about it.
There hasn't been anything to say. So what happens finally is that they do indict this guy, this neighbor, who was kind of a druggy, guy in the area that probably didn't have a lot going for him. But anyway, they indict him. And so the family's like, okay, great, I guess, maybe. Well, then they have to come back out on November 22nd, 2023, and dismiss that indictment. They also did dismiss the indictment of burning the trailer, too. They dismiss both indictments and say, we just need more time to investigate. Now, wait a minute.
Have anything.
You're telling me. But you indicted this person, meaning this went to a grand jury, on both of these things. And now when it's time to get ready to go to trial, you have to drop both of those indictments? That means you don't have any evidence. That means he didn't even fucking do this. That means that you guys...
How did they even indict him? Holy shit.
Good question. What kind of evidence did they show to the grand jury?
Right. That's scary.
Mm-hmm.
So, trying to pin it on this dude then?
Mm-hmm. I think so. I don't have any proof of that, but I think so. It seems like he just was an easy target. Yeah.
They dropped the charges in 2023 and he hasn't been recharged?
No.
Yeah. That guy
It's
was
been
a
more
patsy.
than a year. Yeah. He was totally a patsy who got a better attorney than these guys expected, I'm guessing, and railroading him didn't turn out to be as easy as they thought it would be, so they ended up having to just let it go.
Oh, how scary. Poor guy. Jesus.
So here we are now, 5 years down the road, 4 years down the road. No charges, no answers, nothing. So Ashley and Christina's families are just having to just move forward because they cannot get any traction. No one is listening to them.
God.
Ashley's son has now graduated from high school and headed to college, and his family is just trying to move on and do it without her because this just happened, and there's just no answers, no comeuppance, nothing.
That is hideous. Gross. What is happening in this little town? That this is just being allowed.
Right. What else is happening in this town? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a hell of a story. It is really sad, and it's a story that definitely deserves more traction because there needs to be a serious look into what is going on here and what's happening here.
Right. And why was that guy charged and indicted?
Right.
And then released? Like, what is going on?
What evidence was used to indict him? Where is that?
Yeah, that is very questionable.
Yeah.
Boy. Well, my heart goes out to their families. Gosh, that is awful.
Yeah. I wanted to show you a picture of Ashley. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of Kristina. I wish I did. Ashley's pictures are a lot easier to get because she was the rep. But
That's right.
this is
Yeah,
Ashley. She was also a
gorgeous.
teacher. And was just so beloved by her family and by her colleagues, and just absolutely senseless what happened to her. It's incredibly unfair.
And to Christina, my hell.
Yeah. So I hope that someday there is justice for her. Also, if you guys are in the South, or particularly in Mississippi, have you heard of this case? Did you even know this happened? Because it has had very little traction, and it deserves a lot more than it's had.
Yeah, it certainly does.
Yeah, Kristi, I agree. They indicted the neighbor to make it seem like they were doing something because there has been some pressure. One of her fellow state reps actually wrote a bill trying to make it easier for the the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation to get involved in cases without being invited. Because basically what happens most of the time is that unless it's a missing child, and sometimes the FBI or the State Bureau of Investigations can insert themselves, but typically no. If they come in on state or local investigations as they are invited. But in this case, the family felt like the FBI probably should have taken the lead on this from the get-go, considering who it was. That she was a former politician, and also because the circumstances were so sus. So anyway, yeah, one of her fellow reps actually tried to write a bill, or did write a bill, and tried to get it passed in her honor to make it easier for those municipalities or those investigative agencies to get involved. The last I have heard, he didn't get any traction on it, unless he has now, and I don't know that. But he tried to get some traction there, and it sounds like he didn't get it. But it is an ongoing problem, because when you have corruption within a sheriff's department or a police department, and you choose to not have any outside help, you're choosing to not have any outside interference. Right. And maybe you shouldn't get to have that choice.
Help? Yeah. Yeah, it's very sketchy. Why would you not want help in a situation like this with 2 murders and an arson? Like, it makes it look sketchier that they haven't asked for their state investigators to come in and help them. That is so concerning.
It is. It is. Yeah. So, at any rate, we'll keep an eye on this case. Every once in a while, an old case comes to our attention through whatever means, and we take another peek. And sometimes there's some great news, and sometimes there's not. And in this case, there really isn't. But I wanted to refresh it anyway because, first of all, I thought you guys would be very interested in this case. But second of all, this case deserves more airtime and more traction. So, for the little bit of influence we have, we will assert it. So, there you go.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, Kristi, I'm going to kick it back over.
Kristina.
Absolutely, justice for them. Kristi, I'm going to turn it. And also, sorry, before I say that, all of the love to their family. I can't even imagine what a hard and frustrating and devastating situation this has been for them, just on every front.
So sad.
Yeah, for sure. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to you for our last segment, and I believe that is violence against women.
Well, got a story for you that you are not going to like for multiple reasons. I definitely don't like this, but I think it's one we need to pay attention to. This right here is Ryant Jones. And Ryant Jones has been arrested for the murder of an infant, a 10-year-old, and an adult woman.
Oh.
This happened in Louisiana. This happened on the 9th of January. These are the victims right here. And let me tell you a little bit about what's going on with this case, because there's some really concerning things going on with this case. So this is in St. Helena Parish. Police responded to a domestic disturbance call at 4:39 p.m. on January 9th, where they located 3 victims, a 40-year-old female, a 10-year-old, her 10-year-old son, and her 1-year-old nephew, which were all stabbed to death. The suspect is Ryant Jones, and he was arrested and in custody kind of like right away, and has been charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. It's absolutely hideous, of course, this family. He is a relative of them, and this family has lost, their loved ones, their children. It was
And a family member did it, or is accused of it.
A family member is accused of doing it. It's very devastating. Okay, so the situation itself is really, really sad.
Yeah.
But then let me tell you what we found out after that I think is even more concerning. Ryant Jones is known to have schizophrenia, and he was having a mental health crisis the day before these murders. The victims' names, by the way, are Rhonda Powell, her 10-year-old son Braylon, and her 1-year-old nephew Hayden.
Okay.
They weren't initially named, but there's a GoFundMe out there that has their names on it now. So Ryant was experiencing a mental health episode and was taken to a medical center by family the day before these killings. The family, who is Deandra Robertson Warner, who is a cousin to, a cousin to Rhonda Powell, but I think, also Ryant Jones, said that they took him to the hospital and they asked that they commit him and keep him because he was showing signs of aggression toward his brother.
Ooh.
And they didn't think it was safe for him to go home. The family also pleaded with the doctor to give him a shot, which usually works, which antipsychotic medication frequently now is injectable. And shots kick in much faster than pills. So it was pretty clear he was off his meds. He was showing signs of aggression, showing, signs of being in psychosis. And the family is saying, please keep him, give him meds. He is not safe to go home. So instead, what the doctor would do...
admit him, stabilize him, medicate him.
Yeah, like it's not safe for him to be out in the community and he needs to get back on his meds.
Which very reasonable request. Yeah.
So what the doctor did was gave him a pill and a prescription and sent him home.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And he apparently lived in the home with the victims. And the next day he killed them. This sounds a whole lot like the Jeremy Best case here in Idaho Falls. We went through something very similar a year ago, and it's just disgusting to me to think that the family is saying he is not safe. He is showing signs of aggression toward his family. He should not be. He should not go home. He needs to be committed. He needs help. They actually begged him to treat him
Yeah.
with the medication that has worked for him in the past, and they did not give it to him. Like, what is it going to
Why?
take
Yeah.
for
Why?
ER doctors to get it? That they are literally endangering the lives of family and other people in the community when someone is
Yeah.
this ill, when they don't take the step. I mean, risk to self or others is a reason to commit someone.
Right.
It,
Entirely.
it was entirely very possible when he was showing signs of harming a sibling. That's enough for them to hold him, and then for him to be evaluated even for a longer hold. But for the short term, for them to evaluate him, medicate him, when the family is saying this is a medication that has worked for him in the past, please give him this injection, and
Right.
they don't give him that med. Why?
Yeah.
And right, Paula, it's a good point. The shots are expensive. They're newer.
Right.
There are older meds. But one
Right.
pill is
Yeah.
not going to stop a psychotic episode.
No. No. He
Someone in
should have
that
been.
situation had to hang on to him, and the
Yeah.
doctor was the person with that power in this situation, and they didn't do it.
Yep. Yep.
It's disgusting to me.
Oh, that's horrific.
They need to sue. It's the only reality. It's the only recourse we have,
Yeah.
is to turn around and sue that hospital and say, what the hell? We begged you to keep him. We told you he was a risk of hurting people. You let him out, and he killed 3 people.
Yep.
What the hell? Oh, our mental health system is so messed up, and it is so aggravating to me that we have parameters in place for situations like this, and they so frequently do not get used.
Well, for sure. Well, and these guys in the chat are making a great point. Well, what role did insurance play in that? Besides just the cost of the pill, what role did insurance play in, or the big business of hospitals these days that he didn't have the right insurance or didn't have insurance, or you know,
Right.
it's unfortunately a lot of this
All about
stuff.
money.
It's all about money. Yeah, it's all about money. It's not about people, certainly, and
'Cause my
definitely
guess
not
is he
about
was
keeping people
probably on
safe.
Medicaid. I mean, if he's an adult with schizophrenia, he's probably on disability and probably has Medicaid.
Yep, probably so.
But I don't know. Every state's different with this shit, and that's the other problem that we have in the U.S., that we need a federal mental health system, just like we need a federal child protection system, so that it's the same everywhere, and these gaps do not happen.
Exist. Yep.
But it is insane to me for them to say, we brought him here because he is showing signs of harming his brother.
Yeah.
And
That
the
should
doctor
have been
said,
enough.
you should probably just go home with your brother. You'll be fine. And he kills 3 people.
Yep.
An infant, a 10-year-old, and a
Hell,
40-year-old relative.
And he stabbed them all. That is
Stabbed.
incredibly violent. Yeah.
That is.
Ah, that is so sad to everyone in that family. My gosh.
It is.
Needs
Right,
to get
and
better.
doctors are afraid of being sued for falsely imprisoning patients. The thing is, there are safeguards in place for things like that. There are criteria that a person has to meet to be held. The problem is, even when they meet them, they don't hold them. This man definitely met the criteria for danger to others.
Yeah.
They should have kept him under that alone, and this would not have happened. As I watched the Jeremy Best case marching through our system, and they're going for first-degree murder and the death penalty for him after he was so horrifically failed at our local hospital, at our local ER.
Also, disallowing a mental health defense.
Yeah. Finding him competent
Yeah.
and disallowing his mental health defense when very obviously this man has a serious mental illness. And this is the very same kind of situation. It just makes me sick.
It is.
The lack of giving a shit that is an epidemic here in the U.S. these days just makes me sick to my stomach. But this situation did not have to happen.
No, this was just
He
apathy.
needed help,
Yep.
and he did not get it. And because he didn't get it, 3 people are dead. It's awful.
Yep. an aunt who clearly, or I'm not sure if she was his aunt, I'm assuming, but this lady who was clearly really trying to help him. He was living with her.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know exactly what the
Relationship.
familial
Yeah, I'm
relationship is,
assuming aunt, but
but he
yeah.
was living there, and she was caring for him, and other family took him to the hospital and said, "Please, he's dangerous. We need help."
Yeah,
And they just
and they
sent him
didn't get
away.
it. Yep.
Right, Christy? And I agree that we need mandates that say you treat people and protect safety of the community first and worry about money later.
Yeah.
But no, of course, we're just run by corporations now, and so are our hospitals.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So who cares if there's no money to be made? Right? People have to sell out to keep their jobs, right?
Yeah.
What the hell was that doctor thinking releasing him with that report from the family?
Yeah.
But I will tell you that reports from family don't hold a lot of water
Yeah. Which
in
is
our mental health system,
crazy.
which is really fucked up.
Well, we found that in law enforcement a lot of times too.
Yeah. They don't listen to the very people who know this person the best and who can provide the most important information. They don't listen.
No.
And this doctor didn't give a shit, clearly. I cannot imagine sending someone home knowing that they are a risk to someone else
No. No. Horrifying.
and not even trying to adequately medicate them either.
No.
I mean, if you
Yeah.
know a med works for your family member and they're not on it, why would they not try that first?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Yeah, and that happens here too. People sometimes can leave treatment voluntarily. Not usually, if they're being committed, if they're being held on mental health, usually they can't.
Right. In this situation, he could have been held for a 72-hour hold or whatever their state allows for. And here in Idaho, if someone's held on a hold like that, then they are evaluated by a designated examiner.
Yeah.
They're actually evaluated by two designated examiners, a junior and then a senior. And they're not released until either the senior says they can be released or the senior says, no, we're going before a judge because we need to commit this person.
Yeah.
So it takes some days
Yeah.
in which the hospital has the opportunity to be working towards stabilizing a person on the medication.
Yeah.
And the other reason the shots are so important is because they last for a period of time.
Right.
It means that somebody doesn't have to remember to take a pill
Or
choose
decide they
to
don't
take
need
a
it
pill.
when they feel
Right.
better. Yeah.
The shots last for a week, 2 weeks, a month, sometimes more. And if a shot had worked for him in the past, it is just stunning to me that they didn't give him that shot.
Yep. Yep.
Right, the hospital didn't follow the process properly. I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure they did not follow what their state says in order to
Right.
evaluate and hold someone. Because danger of harming someone, and it sounds to me like whoever the brother in that situation was one of those children, because those were both little boys that were killed. He was a danger to a child, and they did not keep him,
Yeah.
and they should definitely have kept him. It's just awful.
Yep.
And now he will go through the system and be villainized as this hideous murderer rather than anyone recognizing that he needed help and didn't get it, and that his psychosis led to his
Yeah.
actions. And then we just see more blame of people with mental illness for terrible things like this, when in reality it was a system that failed that caused those deaths.
Yeah. Entirely. Ah, very sad. Well, we'll keep an eye on that one and see what goes on. I don't know if there'll be a lot to see, but it'll be interesting to
I mean,
see if
they've
the
already
family
charged
files
him with 3
suit.
counts of first-degree murder, but that
Yeah.
family needs to immediately sue that hospital.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What's happening here
Yeah.
with Jeremy Best? It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
only thing. It's the only recourse we have at this point.
Yep. For accountability, for sure. Well, guys, tomorrow night is the watch party. And we have not picked a documentary yet, so we've got to get that together, but we'll let you know. I think we'll announce it later tonight in the Discord. And then, of course, we'll talk about it tomorrow night on the show as well. But if you are a member, and you can become a member just by going over to our Buy Me a Coffee page. It's so easy. Go to I'm going to do it again. truecrimesquad.com. That's a whole page of all of our links. You can click on our Buy Me a Coffee right there. There's just a $2 membership to be a part of the watch party, and then we'll email you a link to the watch party before it happens. But I looked at the calendar while we were doing this show and went, oh my gosh, tomorrow's the watch party. It's early.
Really fast.
Yeah. It just seems early this month just because of the way the calendar fell. So we'll let you know soon what it's going to be and get with you on that. Otherwise, we're going to be back tomorrow night at 6 p.m. for case updates, and that's what we've got.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much for being here. You guys, please go do good things for yourselves. You deserve it, and you know it. We are the True Crime Squad. Thanks for being here.
Bye, everybody.
Season 6, we're back again. Kristi and Katie, your crime time friends. Stories, justice, laughs collide. True Crime Squad, come join the ride. Grab the clues, let's take a stand. For victims' voices, hand in hand. True Crime Squad, it's time to shine. Season 6, your turn, your time. True Crime Squad, where justice meets hilarity.